Hello there, this is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage. I hope you're having a good day or evening or whatever time of day it is for you. My Hope in Marriage is dedicated. I'm dedicated to helping people forge a happy and fulfilling life and in marriage. Okay. Now, you can visit us on the web, visit My Hope in Marriage on the web by going to myhopeinmarriage.com. And there you'll find articles and even access to these videos. All right. So, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to email using the contact form on the website, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right. So now let's get into our topic for today. And what I want to talk about is really on the same vein as I have been for a little while now, especially since the last video about not losing yourself. And that is, we hope to have this happy and fulfilling marriage. All right. And I think that is the wrong focus, given today's, landscape of marriage relationship and relationships between men and women. Okay. You meet someone, you build a relationship, and that relationship is usually somewhat of a facade because we want to put our best foot forward and so forth. But then when you marry someone, the truth is there. They're going to see the way you brush your teeth. They're going to see how you really respond to stuff. All right. But anyway, we build this relationship, and we're get to a point where we're thinking, oh, he's the one or she's the one. And not really knowing if we really know this person. All right. Like I've said in past videos, that when I married my wife, I didn't realize that I married the student version of her, not the real version. All right. I didn't get the real version until after she graduated. I graduated a year before her. After she graduated, I began to see her unhindered by the limitations or boundaries of what's necessary to be a good student in college. All right. You have certain restrictions. You got to study a lot and so forth and so on. So you incorporate all that and you think you've got a really, really good thing. And then when we got married, I found that there was a different person. After a while, I began, and I told her this, it's a different person. But then I realized what happened. I got to know the dating person. I got to know the student person. I didn't really get to know that person up close and personal. And I don't even know how you would do that. You would think, okay, what if we live together first? Well, statistics shows that is worse. That's even worse as far as having a good marriage, because the divorce rate of those who shack first or who live together first I believe it was worse than just people who didn't. Or there was no difference. It wasn't like statistics show that if you live together, your marriage has a much better chance of surviving. That wasn't the case, if I remember correctly. But anyway, we expect to have this, this happy marriage, this good relationship. And in a lot of cases, it doesn't turn out that way. Because our expectations sometimes hinders us from actually working at it. We just think this person is a certain way, not realizing that they're not necessarily that way. You didn't have the opportunity to see them operating in a normal, everyday life situation. All right. You didn't get to see how she cooks or how he cleans or whatever. You didn't see that because you weren't living with them. You weren't with them. Now, if they had a dorm room and you went to their dorm room, like in college or their apartment or whatnot, and it was messy, then yeah, you've got an idea. This person is not a housewife. This person is not a cleaner. He's not the type to keep his stuff neat and clean, or she's not the type to, you know what I'm saying? You get to see certain things that way. But since we're dating, we tend to ignore those. We tend to overlook it, or it doesn't show as vividly and as large as it should. All right, because you know why? Because we're in love. All right, and if you aren't married yet, and of course you're watching this, and you want to marry someone because you're in love, no, don't do it. Being in love is no reason to get married, because that's a feeling, that's an emotion. All right, you want to marry someone because you've decided, based on what you know about this person, that you want to commit to them, that they're the one. Now, of course, you two have to discuss things, and you're going to assume they're going to tell the truth. They're going to be honest and not uphold or still put forward this facade. I'm going to say what I think he wants me to say, or I'm going to say what I think she wants me to say. All right. Let me give you an example. You may have a woman who, okay, back in the day, a woman was considered stereotypically the housewife. She took care of the home. She took care of the kids, where the guy went out and made a living, made money. All right. And there was nothing wrong with that paradigm. That's a good paradigm. All right. I grew up in a household where both parents worked. And of course it worked. I believe my parents were successful in raising three guys. Right. But anyway, you see this woman, and this woman may have aspirations of becoming a great rocket engineer. She might want to be a great electrical engineer because she really loved what her father did. Let's say her father was an engineer, and she really got in tune to that. And she wants to be a very successful engineer. You come along, you fall in love. Maybe you're in college too, and you want to be an engineer or scientist or chemist or whatever. And you two fall in love, but she still wants to be a successful engineer. You're thinking, she's going to take care of the house. She's going to cook and clean. All right. And she's not thinking that you're assuming that. She thinks that perhaps she's in college. She's getting a degree in electrical engineering or rocket science or whatever. So why would she think that you expect her to graduate and then just become a housewife? I wouldn't assume that either. I would assume I want to be an engineer, right? But we hold on to these things, and then let's say you do get married. She's excited because she's thinking she's got the man of her life and she's going to pursue her engineering, and he's with her on that, blah, blah, blah. And of course she realizes she's going to have to do some housework, but she knows that she's in a relationship, or at least she calculated that she's in this relationship where, she's going to thrive as an engineer, and she's going to have a certain picture of what wifehood looks like. But he has a completely different picture. And you don't realize that until you clash, until he starts realizing, man, we're eating out a lot, or we're doing like microwave meals, and why don't she cook? And we don't have sex that often, and how are we gonna have kids? And she doesn't really clean the house that much. What's up with that? What? And now you start getting friction because of that. But you were in love, and you just overlook the data about her. And the same way, vice versa. You may think this guy is a certain way, and not realizing that what he saw as a kid, as far as man-woman relationship, husband-wife relationship is completely different than what you saw. So both of you have different expectations, is what I'm saying. And you put those expectations on the person, and then those expectations go up in smoke. But here's the problem. Instead of adjusting to it, we hold on to that. We try to uphold a relationship. We try to preserve a relationship that doesn't exist. And then we get frustrated. Tensions grow. And then what could have become a good relationship, i.e., perhaps even a happy, fulfilling marriage, becomes a point of stress, a point of resentment, a point of anger, a point of, why did I do this? Why did I marry her? And then, of course, you fall out of love. Now, if you got married because you fell in love, now you're in trouble. Because the basis of your marriage was this concept of infatuation, love, not necessarily commitment. Or you understand what I'm saying? So, but then we continue to pursue those things. We try to make it work. But you're trying to make a misconception work. You're trying to make work what doesn't exist. She hasn't decided that she's going to give up engineering because she's been thinking about that since she was a little girl. And that's where her heart is. Could something happen where she decides to drop it? That's possible. Maybe one day she gets tired of working. So she said, I think I'll be a housewife. Let him take care of all that. All right. I've seen women, I know women that did that. And they're very, very successful at it. They're very good at it. But you try to hold on. You try to uplift. You try to edify something that doesn't exist. You're trying to make better a building that doesn't exist. You've got to come to grips with reality. She's this way. You're this way. Deal with that. She wants to be an engineer. Stop trying to make her a housewife. Because let's say she bends to the pressure, your constant pressure, and then she acquiesces to your wishes. All right? Now she's miserable. Now I know I've said many times I don't believe in the adage, happy wife, happy life. Don't ever believe that. That's garbage. But if she's miserable, her misery is going to affect the household. It's going to affect the relationship because she has a dream that she's been thinking about her whole life. Go up in smoke because you wanted something else. All right? Now you've got a big problem because now she's perhaps going to have resentment. You're going to have what you think you wanted or what you think you have. But all you've done is built pressure, built resentment, built stress in the relationship because you insisted and persisted in building or establishing something that didn't exist in the first place. All right? That's the thing. And instead of doing that, where is she? Where is he? Let's work with that. Maybe take a reassessment of the relationship and, start over. Now, if you have a marriage where it's not just a misunderstanding of expectations, but this person really, you've just fallen out of love, and it could be some of that misconception, but your marriage is just your roommates. You're not soulmates. You don't really have that infatuation anymore. you walk around as employees in Household Incorporated. So again, you try to, spark something in your marriage. You try to build something up, but it just isn't there because her heart's somewhere else. His heart is somewhere else. All right, now I'm going to speak from the man's perspective because that's what I'm most familiar with. She has positioned herself to the children, maybe even to her career. She didn't fold under your pressure. She continued in her career. She continues to really put her focus on the children. She's not so much interested in building a bond with you. Not that she's trying to be malicious, it's just that her heart is just somewhere else. You can express how you feel, but that doesn't necessarily change her heart. All right? And of course, you could ask yourself, well, why isn't her heart with you? What have I done to get her to want to go somewhere else? You have to ask yourself that question because a lot of times we contribute to the issues that we face. All right? But other than that, her heart's somewhere else. But you keep trying to revive the relationship. I mean, you're going to do that. But after a while, after so many years, you have to start telling yourself that it's never going to be like that. Unless she wants it to be like that. Unless he wants it to be like that. It's not going to be like that because their heart's always going to be reaching somewhere else. Even if for a little while they seem to be back with you, their heart's just going to take them somewhere else because their heart didn't change. All right? Their heart did not change. And you got to come to grips with that. All right? So, instead of trying to uphold something and build something that doesn't exist, build upon what does exist. That way you can be less angry maybe. You still don't like the way things are, but instead, because you may not like the way things are in your relationship, but to try to make it into something that is not just frustrates you more and more and more. But if you were to just accept, hey, this is the way it is, let me deal with it. Now you make decisions based on what you want to do, not on what you want this relationship to be. And of course, you're always going to be open, looking for opportunities perhaps to respond to something. But if you sense that her heart or his heart has not changed, why pretend that it has? What do you want to do with your life? Here's the situation in my household. Let's take that. What do I want to do? All right? What do I want to do? Now, again, some people may say, this is not what I signed up for. I'm out. Hey, that's a choice. But some people decide to stick around. But don't stick around trying to make happen what's not going to happen. Work on something that's more probable for you. And even for your family. Take care of your kids. Pay your bills. Take care of the household. Get it clean. Maybe hire a maid or whatever, maid service. But just take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't disrespect your spouse. All right, love your spouse, and love as far as being committed, that's a decision, not a feeling. Okay? And move on with what you have. Now you can build upon what you have, not what you don't have. You can build upon something that exists. Do that. What do you want to do in your life? What do you want to accomplish? I don't care how old you are. From this day forward, what do you want to accomplish? All right? Even including, the marriage. Okay, something might be, I want to be more communicative with my wife. I want to talk to her more. I want to tell her more of what's going on in my head and even perhaps my heart, what my aspirations are. And she, you hope will do the same. Women, wives, you do the same. You talk to your husband. from the heart, from the head. What is he thinking? Tell her what you're thinking about. Tell her what your problems are. And be open. Don't be insulted. Because sometimes when someone tells you how they feel, you're like, well, is it because of me? No, don't go there. Don't even go there. Just accept what he says. You know, if you can do something about it, if it's something that you can improve, well, work on it. All right, because if you don't, he's just going to keep feeling the same way about it. Or she's going to keep feeling the same way about it, blah, blah, blah. So work on yourself. Pursue what you want in your life. Pursue it. All right? Pursue it. Not what doesn't exist, but base it on what does exist. Base it on reality. All right? I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention because we can get stuck on we can become vehement in doing something to uphold something, and you're just punching a brick wall. You're not going to get much except bleeding hands, all right? So just take an assessment, step back, take an assessment of your relationship. What is it really like? And work with that. And always pursue your dreams, what you want to do. Whether she's with you or not, whether he's with you or not. And don't neglect your responsibilities, because you did get married and there's certain responsibilities that come with that as far as running a household. All right? All right, I just want to leave you with that. God bless you. Again, this is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage. Visit us online at www.myhopeinmarriage.com. And of course, feel free to watch all the videos that I have here. If you like this video, then on YouTube, then hit that like button. If you want to subscribe to get notified when I do, post more videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, okay? All right, until next time, God bless you. God bless you. Be you.